Hey, are you a new realtor and is this maybe your first real estate transaction? And I get this question all the time. How much should I be communicating with the other sales agent? Well, we're going to cover that and more right after this. Hey guys, this is Adam Ashmont. I'm the president of Ashmont Realty and instructor at Hondros College of Real Estate. And I get this question quite a bit about on new agents. I'm in my first or second or third, basically, real estate transaction, and I don't care if you're a buyer or seller; it really doesn't matter. But they ask me all the time, like, how much should I be communicating with the other agent? Like, should I talk to them daily, hourly, weekly? Well, we're going to discuss that today on this Realtor's Tip. And I basically coined this in this term, and I call it the 3 hurdle process, because every real estate transaction, you basically have 3 hurdles that you're trying to jump over. Okay. That are now, obviously every deal's a little different, but there's a streamlined process that we, teach our agents, that, there is a system and a process, and just follow it and you'll be good about 90% of the time. But for the 3 that's hard to say, 3 hurdle process, guys, is the first one is the inspection. So if you're the buyer, say you're the buyer's agent, for example, and you go do an inspection on a house, right? And, you schedule it, you go out and walk through with everything. You need to communicate with the seller's agent that, hey, we did the inspection, everything was fine or wasn't fine. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're communicating with them after the inspection, because if not, they're going to wonder what's going on. Do they still want to buy the house? And they're going to get a little nervous, because the seller during the inspection period, believe me, they're very nervous. They're on edge because they want to make sure you still buy that house. You've committed to contract on a house, and they're a little worried. Okay, so the first time you really start talking to the other agent is during the inspection period, and that's usually in the first week of your contract. So you go into contract, and then in about a week, you're going to be doing your inspection. Okay. Next one is appraisal. Okay. So the appraisal, that's basically going to happen in week 2 or week 3, right? Okay. And, this one works a little different. The only person that's going to know when the appraisal is going to be happening is really, and this seems weird, you'd think it'd be the lender. It's actually the seller and the seller's agent. And why is that? Because the appraiser is going to contact the seller so they can go in and do an appraisal. All right. So don't ask your lender about your appraisal time. Ask your seller's agent. If you're the buyer's agent, ask the seller's agent. Or if you're the seller agent, let the buyer's agent know, hey, just want to let you know the appraiser is going to be out at the seller's home on Wednesday at 2:00 to do the appraisal. Because, again, even though the buyer is paying for it, the buyer does not know when that appraiser is going out. So the first person that's going to know is not the lender, it's not the buyer, it's actually going to be the seller who's going to know when that appraisal is going to be happening. So appraisal. So if you're the seller's agent, you're going to find out when that appraisal is going to happen. And once you do, get in touch with the buyer's agent. Just let them know that they're going to be coming out. The last hurdle of the 3 hurdle process is going to be the final conditions on financing. Okay. Now, what does that mean? You got a buyer that's pre-approved, right? And they got the pre-approval letter, and that you present that on your contract, but during that's only a pre-approval, and we did another vlog about the pre-approval process, and you can watch that video. But when you do a pre-approval, that only means preliminary things. And as the client goes through the process of the final, basically rounding third, heading home, is they're going to start verifying things. And I've had some weird stuff happen. I've where people change jobs. I've had it where, thank God it wasn't any of my clients, but I've heard it where people buy a car, they buy furniture, and it might throw off their credit bureau, or something might happen, especially with COVID. A year or so ago, people were losing their jobs that they had great jobs, and they didn't anticipate losing their jobs. So what has happened is, as you're rounding third, heading home, the bank's going to do some final verification on things. And we want to make sure that that's all buttoned up. And what's going to happen, you're going to get what's called a clear to close. Okay. A clear to close. Clear to close basically means this. Hey, the bank went through everything, including the firstborn and the left kidney and the blood transfusion donor. They go through everything, and everything's good. And they've signed off on it and put that stamp of approval on it, so we can go ahead and start closing. Okay. So now if you think about it, most contracts take about a month. All right. So you got your inspection the first week. You got your appraisal that second, third week, and that third to fourth week, you have, final conditions of financing. So really about every week, pending nothing weird happens, right? Nothing oddball happens. You're going to talk to that other sales agent about once a week. So, when in doubt, communicate. Now, one thing I'm going to touch on that's very important, and I've had this recently. Sometimes, and I'm going to speak for buyer's agents here, right? So if you're a buyer's agent, come to communication, right? Is if you have a contract and it's 30 days, say your contract is for a 30-day period, and you do not make that commitment, and say it's nobody's fault, it's just the appraiser didn't get out on time. We had some holidays that slowed the process down. But when you buy a home, you have a a date of closing, or before. It's not after. It's like, hey, we're going to close on this date or before, right? So if you get to that final date and your buyer cannot make that commitment, it doesn't matter whose fault it is, right? Doesn't matter. You do open the door to allow the seller's side to maybe start asking some hard questions. Now, I want you as a buyer's agent to, give your lender a fair warning before you do this. But one thing that I do, and that has worked and has kept deals together when maybe they wouldn't have, is I will let if the seller's getting antsy and they're getting nervous that maybe this isn't going to happen, or what's the problem? Why can't we close on time? I talk to the lender, and I ask the lender all the time. I'll say, hey, lender, the seller's getting a little antsy. They're worried something's wrong. I know there's nothing wrong, but they would really like to hear it from you, because sometimes they just don't trust other realtors, right? And that's okay, no problem. So what we do is, I will give my lender a heads up, and I'm going to say, lender, I'm going to give them your contact information. And, if they, for some reason, want to reach out to you, is that okay? And most lenders are going to say, well, I don't want to talk to them, but if we have to, we will. And I'll go to the seller and the seller's agent, and I'll say, hey, guys, I'm sorry we didn't make the commitment. That's our fault. I know we had a couple screwy things. Everything seems to be on track, but I know you might not, trust me or whatever. Here's the information to the lender, and please, talk to them if needed. Okay. Because, by doing that, you're opening the line of communication with all parties involved. Because you got to remember, guys, everyone has the same goal. The same goal is to close that loan, because I want paid as the realtor. The lender wants paid because that's how he gets his commission. The seller wants their money, and the buyer wants the keys. So we all are wanting to, we all have the same goals in mind. So, if indeed you're not hitting your commitments, make sure you bring up the fact that, maybe you can speak to the lender if that holds any water with your seller, because you know what, it really does sometimes. They just want that reassurance, not by a third party, which is you, the agent, but the lender themselves. So I hope that helps on how much communication you should have with the other agent during a sales process. Again, this is Adam Ashba, president of Ashmont Realty and college instructor at Hondros College. And if you have any other questions or concerns, put comments below. If you think that you feel that maybe that's too much communication, let me know. I'm always open to suggestions and things like that. So have a great week, everybody. Again, this is Adam Ashba, president of Ashmont Realty at Hondros College, and we will see you next Realtor Tip.